Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Auburn Zoning Board of Appeals for Thursday, July 19th, 2018. The meeting's been recorded, and so I'm going to ask anyone here if they're also recording. Not seeing any. So this evening we have one hearing. Before we get to that, a couple of items of housekeeping. So we're down one member. Our chairman is out this evening, and so I'll be chairing the meeting. So I'm going to ask our alternate, Ms. Blaze, to step forward without objection.
Sure.
Very good. I don't believe there's any additional housekeeping, so we'll go right into the 7 p.m. hearing. So our applicant, Bruce A. Dufresne, and I apologize for that, requesting a variance from the side setback distance under section 5.4 of the zoning bylaws for an addition of a garage on property located at 70 Rockland Road, Auburn, Mass., map 17, parcel 39. Is the applicant present? If you could approach the lectern, sir, and state your name for the record, and then just give us a description of what you'd like to accomplish.
My name is Bruce Dufresne. I'm here today with my wife, Kim Dufresne. We're looking to build a two-car tandem garage connected to our house. It would require no more than 1 foot of relief from the side setback.
Okay. All right. And any additional description? This is your time to explain the project, sir, so I'm just offering. I'm not, but you don't have to. I'm not putting you on the spot.
It's going to be within, well within the limits of the front setback. It's going to be connected to the house. It will have the siding the same as the house. We're going to remove the existing stone retaining wall, which is holding up the side of the driveway. So it'll have a poured concrete foundation. So instead of the 1 foot strip of grass between our driveway and our neighbor's driveway, it'll instead be landscaped to have a 6 foot strip of grass. So we'll be increasing the side yard of the grass area. And I think that's it. I think that describes it.
Okay, thank you very much. And you may want to stay because there may be questions from the board members, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And so I'll open it up to board members for questions. And I like to start on this side of the room because we typically go here. So Ms. Blaze?
How big is the addition going to be? Sorry, I'm just looking for my notes. How big is it going to be?
It will be, I think we included both the survey and also the architect's description. It will be approximately 11 feet, 6 inches interior. It doesn't say the width of the poured stone foundation, but I believe that's only about 10 inches wide. So it'll be approximately 12.5 feet wide. The length of it is approximately 37 feet long. It's only going to stick out the front of the house approximately 5 feet, and it'll be 8 feet longer to the rear of the house.
Okay. I don't have any other questions at the moment.
Thank you. Ms. Roach?
No, I want to hear from abutters.
Mr. Colo?
That's what I'd like to hear from the abutters first.
Very good. Mr. Cussy?
My concern would be the water and the snow coming off the roof of the garage. Looks like it would be, I know you're going to have 6 feet after the building is up.
6 feet of grassy area in between the foundation and our neighbor's driveway, yes. We'll do a gutter along the length of it to collect the rainwater. And as far as snow, I don't think we have a lot of problem with the front of our house with snow coming off of the, I don't know what you would call it, the lee of the roof line.
It just looks like it's going directly towards the neighbor's driveway, but I'll wait to hear if there's any neighbors' comments.
Yep.
I just have a couple of follow-up questions. So I did have an opportunity to view your property. There's an air conditioning unit currently on space, so my assumption is that that'll be relocated.
We would mount it towards the side of the garage facing our front door.
On that 5-foot jog.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Board members have any additional questions at this time?
No, I'm going to hear from the abutters.
All right, very good. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up to any abutters that might like to speak this evening. Is there anyone here present that's an abutter that'd like to speak? If you could approach, sir, and just state your name for the record.
Good evening. My name's Douglas Turney. I reside at 68 Rockland Road next to Bruce and Kim. I'm here to voice my opposal to the side variance. What happens, and the main reason for is, as President, as he spoke, we have about a 3.5-foot retaining wall. When we have an 8-inch snowstorm, I have a 2.5 to 3-foot snowdrift in my driveway at the present time. The length of the garage as being, and the fact that it's probably going to end up, I would say, at probably a 13-foot height, my major concern is snowdrift on my property due to the fact that we have an open air between the buildings as we speak, but after that, that will not happen. All the air will be on my property, and I believe all the snow as well, sir. So that is the main reason why I will not. They only wanted to get an extra foot off the 7 foot, is that correct?
That, as it stands now, sir, the way they proposed it is that they're asking for relief of 1 foot.
That's
from the
correct,
current
and I
bylaw.
am opposed to that.
Okay.
Truthfully, as the more I have thought about it, the wife and I have discussed it, I have looked at, they have actually marked out in the driveway, how wide it would be and how long it would be. And when we're in our backyard, all we would see is a 13-foot wall now, as opposed to being able to look out onto the street. It aesthetically does not appeal to us as neighbors, and truthfully, I'm afraid that the snow is going to become a very, very big problem as far as drifting is concerned on any type of snowstorm going further with that length and height of a wall.
All right, well, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate your comments. Anyone else that would like to speak as far as an abutter? Okay. Sir, I'd give you an opportunity to address any of those concerns that have been raised.
I don't know what effects it would have on snow drifting like that. I do know that when both of our vehicles are parked in that area, I'm sure they don't block the line of sight as well as a building would, but there's still a large SUV could block line of sight. As far as snow removal is concerned, we both experience difficulties with snow removal because we have to get around our cars to clear everything off, to scrape off ice. And the way that our two driveways are aligned side by side with only that 1-inch strip of grass in between, it really limits where we can remove the snow to. So we end up carrying or snow blowing quite a distance, both of us into my backyard and each of us into our front yards. So only the front portion that extends beyond both of our houses can easily be shifted onto our front yards. The remainder all has to go into my backyard, my wife's backyard, and myself. Whether or not the snow drift will appreciably increase the number of inches of snow that he has to remove, he will still have the option to snow blow not only into our backyard, but into that 6-foot strip of grass that will now be in between our driveways. So I think that will actually make snow removal easier for that portion, the rear portion of his driveway. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, I'll give folks in the audience just any additional opportunity for any other comments. Okay, I'll bring it back to the board for additional questions or comments. Mr. Chacolo?
Hi. What I'd like to know is, you currently have that retaining wall. That retaining wall, you've stated, is going to go. And there's going to be a concrete foundation. How do you plan, without moving that retaining wall or the concrete foundation in towards your house, taking some of the current driveway, how do you plan to level that area so you can gain 5 more feet, making it 6 more feet, rather? No, 5 more feet, making it 6 feet versus 7.
We'll have a landscaper. The construction is being managed by Pete Zudima Construction. He's a local Auburn town resident. We'll have him employ the use of a landscaper to properly landscape it to make sure that it's graded well enough so that it's not pouring any runoff into our neighbor's driveway.
So it will be flat up until the side of the foundation?
Correct.
And you plan on taking part of your driveway then, the width?
We're going to end up losing about 5 feet of width of driveway. Where the foundation wall for the garage is.
And you're going to have it leveled off in the back,
Correct.
and some form of a foundation or retaining wall in the back.
The back will be the back foundation of the garage.
Okay, and as you come around it, it'll be the same, your yard should be approximately the same height or a little bit less as the side here.
So currently, with the pictures I think that was given as part of the packet, you can see that the retaining wall, our grass from our neighbor's driveway to our retaining wall is level with his driveway. We'll continue to keep that grass level with his driveway.
Okay, have you thought of any, to address the neighbor's problems? And I'm sure that this crossed your mind because you were talking about snow. Have you thought of any, excuse me, other design for this that would give you a pitched roof, setting it back, pitched roof towards the front, so that then it would be impossible for snow to come off your roof to the neighbor's yard?
We've had an architect mock up several different proposals, and none of the roofs would allow us to maintain a window on the second floor bedroom. The only one that would allow it would be a very slight pitch. I don't know the proper terminology for it, but whatever the slope is, it would require a rubber membrane surface. So it's not going to be a very strong slope towards the
Right.
neighbor's driveway.
The pitch would not be a lot. I'm in my head envisioning setting the garage back so that that window stays there, and the pitch of your roof is just beyond it.
There's none of the diagrams or drawings that the architect came up with looked like that would work properly for the length of the driveway that we wanted, because we want to be able to fit 2 cars in front to back in a tandem style. And there would be no length that the height would accommodate our window.
All right. You've thought of it then.
We did.
Now, you said you were going to put the air conditioner on the side of the garage?
We will mount it to the side of the wall of the garage, yes.
Will the garage be attached to the house?
The garage is attached to the house.
So the air conditioner will be actually inside the garage?
It'll be outside facing our front door.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I have for now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chacolo. Mr. Cussy?
I don't have any questions right now.
Ms. Blaze?
Besides the garage, what other plans do you have with the addition? Are you going to have any of it storage? You're going to have any of it, usable?
The garage addition itself?
Yep.
It's purely going to be for the vehicles. We're going to have stairs towards the very end of it with an access way into our living room from the back of the house.
Okay.
I would love it if we had room for storage, but it's just, we're trying to limit the size to be as respectful as we can to our neighbor. So instead of asking for an extra 2 feet or 3 feet, we're trying to limit ourselves as much as we can and still have a functioning garage. Mainly, I just don't like the snow and ice.
I don't blame you. I don't either.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Ms. Roach?
So, is it possible to make the garage 1 foot shorter?
To make it more
mean-
narrow,
Narrower, I guess, sorry, that shorter is not the right description.
to make it narrower would prevent us from being able to open both sidecar doors fully without them ramming into the side of the structure. One of the things that my wife and I are doing right now is we are looking to adopt a child through the Department of Children and Families, and I just have this vision in my head of the child swinging the door open and smashing the side of the side. The 11 and a half foot interior with the 2x4 wall construction would give us about 12 feet of interior space, and that's just enough for both of our cars to have the side doors fully open without striking the wall on either side.
Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Thank you. Sir, I'd just like to circle back to a couple of questions relative to establishing the property line, just for my own understanding. And so I've got a picture in front of me that shows the retaining wall, and then shows the current block or retaining wall, and then looks like cement pavers, and then a strip of grass, and then kind of a discernible edge where looks like driveway begins. Is that your grass or is that your neighbor's grass?
The majority of it is my grass. I believe a couple inches of it is my neighbor's property.
Okay, so is it, if we're talking inches, just, and no one's measuring this for the purpose of my question, but just discernibly, at the edge of that grass or thereabouts, you would suggest on the other side of the retaining wall, that's where your neighbor's property begins?
Correct.
Okay, so your proposal is to remove the retaining wall, bring it down to a level such that grass would begin from that current edge
Correct.
in 6 feet.
Correct.
And at that point would be it would abut against the new garage,
The foundation of the garage.
foundation of the new garage,
Yep.
okay. And that would be a 2-quarter, would you maintain steps? Doesn't matter, sorry. It's anecdotal, because I saw the steps in the back, but it's anecdotal. Okay, so that's your neighbor's property. Okay, thank you, sir. I don't have any further questions right now. Ms. Cousin?
I had one. What about moving the garage back where his garage is? You know, move it to the back of your house?
Very far in the back, it would still be a matter of the property line. His property line is roughly about the edge of his garage. Whether or not, I'm just trying to think of how to phrase it properly.
You mean,
Yeah.
We would still have a concern about how far we can build towards the back. There's a cliff in the back. It goes down, it's a rather steep cliff. We installed a fence back there because DCF required it for child safety. We have a shed in the middle of it. I'm not sure that would work to have it detached. I really want it to be attached to the house so we have ready access to it in the wintertime.
Save that.
okay.
That's my thought.
Thank you. Any additional questions, gentlemen?
Nothing.
Okay. Any additional questions, ladies?
No, not for me.
Not hearing any? Okay. Anything additional to add before we close the public hearing, sir?
One of the things that I mentioned in the brief to the board is the direction said to describe hardship. So our property is only 60 feet wide, that we have very limited frontage, and we're one of few houses that don't have a garage because a lot of garages are right on the property line or near the property line. This is really the only spot that we could see with our architect and with the surveyor of where a garage could reasonably sit. Our current length of our garage, having to shovel the snow and scrape ice and move everything around the whole length of it, it is difficult in the wintertime. I do have a 10% service-connected disability rating with the military. I'm a veteran. I try to take Motrin before I know I'm going to do a lot of heavy lifting or snow blowing or shoveling, but even then my back can be sore for days afterwards. The addition of this garage would replace about 2/3 of our existing driveway, and that's 2/3 less snow I need to shovel or move. So then really all we would have is that little bit in the front from the garage, about 20 feet to the front of the street that we need to worry about clearing. So it definitely would be a very large boon for me and for my wife to have that relief.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.
Any additional questions, or I'll take a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So what we have before us is an application for a variance as required on a relief for 1 foot on a side setback. We've heard the applicant describe what his intention is a proposed garage, double-length garage, so front to back for vehicles. We've also heard some thoughtful comments from one of the abutters. So is there a motion to,
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to grant the variance.
Thank you, Mr. Chacolo. So the motion's been made to grant the variance. Is there a second to open for discussion or further vote?
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded by Mr. Chacolo and Ms. Roach. Is there discussion, or would the board like to move to a vote? No additional discussion?
My feeling
Discuss
is too much pressure on the neighbor. It encroaches too much for me. I mean, it's going to block his view out. He's going to stare at a garage, and I am concerned about water also running into his driveway. So,
Mr. Cussy, I share, again, for discussion, I know the motion's been made and seconded, I share your concerns relative to that. I'm going to look at the parameters of the variance, and we can walk through them. I think that there can be a case, in my view, that can be made for hardship based on the topology of the lot. But I do take into consideration the impact to the neighborhood and the neighbor, specifically with his comments. Ms. Roach?
I would agree. I certainly think that is a consideration. The reason I'm for, though, is that if he takes 1 foot off, he doesn't need our permission. So if he builds a 10-foot, 6-inch garage, it doesn't change your concerns. He still has a blocked view. He still has, and he doesn't need our permission to do that. So for 1 extra foot, then that's my reason for second. It's not that I don't see the neighbor's concerns, I certainly do, but the garage can go up 1 foot short, and those concerns are still unaddressed.
you wouldn't be able to get into it.
So,
I wouldn't be able to get into it if it was that narrow. I mean, it's so narrow.
yeah,
No, you only
it'd have
need
to
an
only open
8-foot
on
door.
one side.
Yeah.
I mean,
An 8-foot door, and you're all set.
right,
Yeah,
I can
I mean,
only open one door in my garage, and it's not great, we live with it, but it's doable.
Yeah, I mean, I for one can see, so I appreciate your thoughtful comments, because I can see the point of, I don't think that the applicant is asking for a great deal as far as relief, and I'm not taking that dimensionally of 1 foot versus 100 feet, but I don't think the ask here is huge in consideration. I would like to see, as we often try, an amenable solution, especially where neighbors are in such close proximity. And I can absolutely understand the concern of opening up your door and seeing building where you didn't see building before.
Right.
And so I think that's a valid point as well.
And I feel that you could push the garage back. There is an option where you see his garage, the neighbor.
You would still be constrained by the side setback.
Absolutely. But it would not block his home from looking at the...
Ms. Cussy, I think you raise a good point. I think you would satisfy if we were to propose that for consideration to the applicant. You would propose, in consideration that would potentially alleviate view, but I think we would still have
See
the
my
runoff. The runoff considerations, even if this is guttered, which it looks like the design this may be,
Yep.
although I don't see downspout, but it looks like there's guttered up here in proposal. But I think this, if there's any amount of drift off for snow or push for snow, then I can't see feasibly how that, the majority, a lot of that doesn't end up in the neighbor's yard.
Right, 'cause up front here, it's going to be in his driveway.
Right.
And then if water's going to run down, it's going to go right into his garage. I mean, it just good to me. But, and in the shadow, I mean, if there is any sunlight,
I think what you'd have to do in a situation like that is, as Megan described it, he could make the garage a foot narrower, be well within the zoning that we have, and just go ahead and do it. So that, and any of the considerations that have been voiced regarding the shadow, the water, or anything like that, they would not hold water. They wouldn't.
right,
So that the reason I made the motion was that the topology of the lot, which is the key to unlock the rest of the the rest of the conditions is certainly, I don't think we can argue about that, because it's definitely constrained whatever you can do. These houses were built when it was a 60-foot frontage. They were built when, at a time when our zoning laws were either a lot different or not even in place. So if we can meet the condition of topology, we can certainly see that it's causing a hardship for him. And I don't believe, because it currently exists this way, when you're taking snow off a car, it's got to go to the side and down, so that if we've got two conditions met, and it's not really, it's not affecting the town in any way, I think we've got sufficient reason to say that these three conditions have been met to grant the variance. That's why I made the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chacolo.
No. Could I ask Caleb?
We can, oh, of course you can.
Caleb, do you have any input on this? Have you looked at it?
I don't have any input on it.
Could
I
I-
haven't looked at it. The bylaw says 7 feet. I don't have an opinion on how the board acts.
Ms. Roach, I'm sorry. I'm done. Did you have another comment?
No, other than I guess I know that the applicant said they were planning to put gutters. I would want that to be a condition. I mean, I'm certainly, trying to help with the conditions of what could help with, the rain and such like that. So I guess in my second, I would like to add the condition that gutters be required on the
And I don't object.
as well.
I would-
Assuming it passes, I'm just saying.
I would absolutely support that, and I would just ask our building commissioner, is that a condition in such that we can affix based on considerations of water runoff? Can we make a condition such as that to require during the construction that they add water runoff gutter?
The building code doesn't allow for someone to dump water on another property, so they would have to do some kind of downspouts into some type of drain away from the neighboring property regardless.
Very good.
So we would not need it as a condition, conditional variance.
You could certainly
He
put it
would
on
just
there,
be
but-
meeting the normal property, normal building code.
Okay.
Correct.
All right, fair enough. Just wanted to get within the scope of what we could require versus
No, good
versus
call.
spending. Very good, okay. Well, I think we've explored this a great deal, and I'll just go around, any additional comments for discussion? So I'll go back to the, I believe, the motion's been made and seconded, and so I'll go around for a roll call vote. So, Ms. Rowe?
Approve.
Okay, very good. Mr. Cussy?
Deny.
Okay. And the chair approves. So we're sat with 4-1. We don't need a supermajority because...
That is.
Pardon?
That is our supermajority, right?
A 4-1.
Yeah.
So that is, so it does in
Yeah.
fact pass.
Yes, it passes.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking...
We don't need unanimous.
Exclusive, that we would...
Yes.
yeah, right, very good.
Yes.
All right, so, sir, congratulations, we have approved. There are certain conditions, I know you work with the building commissioner and others as you walk through a site plan for this. Okay? All right, thank you very much for being here,
Congratulations.
and appreciate your concern, sir. Thank you for being here. Okay. And do I need a motion? So we've closed the public hearing. Do I need a motion to close the hearing? I think it's final on the vote.
We've done our maintenance.
Yeah, we've done our maintenance. It's final on the vote, I believe, so I think we can move on.
Motion to adjourn?
Well, before we do, I just want to double check. So we did have maintenance. Are there minutes this evening?
No.
Okay, there are no minutes this evening?
Minutes?
Decision
right,
has
very
been
good.
signed? The decision has been signed, right in front of you?
Yes.
And we do have one decision that has been fully executed. So we're good, thank you. So we're good. Caleb, any additional maintenance, housekeeping that we need to do this evening? Okay. So Mr. Cole, I'll circle back with you for that motion.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we are adjourned. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you.